Okay, I've come back with a whole bunch of ideas.
Okay, what do you got?
I can totally empathize with the fact that this thing is extremely tiny and quite overwhelming
Hmm.
and hard to understand. So
Yep.
I want you to bear with me and go with the fact that I'm not just thinking about making something bigger,
Hmm.
which I think might have been where you were headed.
Yeah.
Just go with the process because I have come up with a whole bunch of different ideas. All right.
Hmm.
So my first idea is to build an enlarged model,
Hmm.
but make it sort of like a fun, interactive, um, sort of like experience. So have like lights that you can press and turn on, and it's quite large, and the kids can like stomp on it.
Yeah, cool. Yep.
Something that's quite interactive and something that kids can move around, with the main aim for the kids to get used to where the different individual parts of the circuit are located. So
Hmm.
it just be a familiarization
Yep.
type thing. So that's number one. The second idea I have is to make it into a fun card game.
Yeah, cool.
So there's lots of different rules around how to use it.
Yep.
So I have this idea of maybe using like Pokemon cards and having rules or something written on the back of the card.
Like how you use each button and stuff. Like,
Yes, like
okay, yeah,
inputs, outputs, and what each thing does,
okay,
just to
yeah,
make
cool.
it fun and less intimidating.
Yep. So you don't
So
even need the thing.
you don't need that, you just would play the cards.
Okay. Yep.
So that's
I
another
like it.
idea,
What
card
else?
games. Another idea is to build a Twister game. So literally like the game of Twister, imagine like a big mat on the ground, and you have challenges where you have to be able to reach certain parts on the mat, and it's sort of like a way of getting kids to um, play and interact with the location of where things are on that circuit, um, in a kind of fun way. And it's
Yeah.
really good for kids that need to move around and that sort of thing.
And you're thinking like a 2 meter diameter. Okay.
Like quite big.
Yeah, right.
Like
okay.
a big
like
thing.
a rug.
Like something on the ground that the kids then follow instructions, or the students follow instructions, and they move around.
Yep.
To get to know the different parts of the circuit.
Okay.
So that's Twister game.
Yep.
Number 4 is when I was mucking around with how this thing looks, and I did some enlarged versions, I started to realize that this kind of looks like a smiley face.
Yeah, like with eyes and stuff.
Yep. So I thought that perhaps I could make like a flow chart, or like an instructional user guide, in the shape of a smiley face. So it's kind of like a, I don't know, kind of like an instructional card that you would have with you when you are playing, when you're working with the circuit. So there's the smiley face.
Mm-hmm.
So you think it's cute? And I thought that could be fun. And just making it a bit lighthearted, noting that like that is quite a detailed little thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if kids could visualize it in terms of like, oh, it's actually just a smiley face and there's the different features, they'd be more familiar with what each part does.
Yep, cool.
So that's another
Yep,
idea.
that's an idea.
Then I thought, because we're dealing with different, when you use the Code Maker app, which is like the sort of the tutorial, like the best tutorial I could find was Code Maker.
Yep.
In how to use this thing. They use like puzzle, like they use like the different instructions for coding
that fit together,
look like puzzles.
Yep.
So I had this idea that perhaps we could I could make a puzzle, or something like this, where you've got to put a particular part together, or fit a particular type of the puzzle piece together that goes with the algorithm.
Yeah, okay. So like the variable fits in the comparator logic.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So you have like button
okay.
A, you need is an input or an output, and you have to put that, otherwise it won't work.
Okay, and if it doesn't fit, it doesn't work.
And if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit.
Okay, I like it.
And kids can get used to that. So that's another idea, the puzzle.
Yep.
Then I was thinking just a basic flow chart or a mind map which would just be like to get the kids just to have an instructional flowchart with them. So it's more of like a something just to help them understand how something works.
Yep.
So like sort of like inputs. Input 1 is a button. Input 2 does this. Input 3 does this. So all of the different features.
Yeah, cool. Yep.
It'd probably be something you could laminate, and the kids would just have a copy each.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Something quite simple.
Okay. Yep.
Just an idea, because that would be an easy thing to do, but maybe not as engaging.
What's this next one?
The next one was getting pretty out there and pretty probably beyond my tech skills. So we might need to outsource it. It was developed like a comprehensive software app solution. So kind of use an interactive picture. So you could use like this photo.
Smiley face even.
Yeah, the smiley face or this thing.
Yeah.
And you could try to build like a platform where you've got it on your screen and you click on it and it will like take you in and give you more information, and it'd be kind of like you hover over it and then it'll give you clues or examples and take you down a bit more of a path of the detail of the sounds and things like that.
Okay.
So if you click on the music symbol, it'll take you in and go, okay, music is an output. This is what you can do.
Okay.
And it could take you to like some of the YouTube tutorials or whatever.
Okay.
So
that'd be a pretty intense technology solution.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
it was something I wanted to just flag with you.
Definitely
I don't probably have the tech skills, but something we could outsource.
Yep.
Another one was another card game, but just make it like a Pokemon card game, literally, where kids are having to go around and do, like we said before with the other card game, but it would have like inputs and outputs, and they can just play it in small groups.
Okay, so like a pretty picture and then like a description sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And I just think
it sounds intriguing.
Kind of fun.
Because it'd be colourful and like less overwhelming than this thing, less intimidating. Yep.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So the cards would have like a combination of input, command, logics, and output cards.
Okay.
So without realizing it, you're actually getting familiar with coding in a kind of fun way.
Yeah.
And you're not having to even deal with the little circuit yet until you feel familiar and ready.
And the kids are familiar with these too. They've had experience with it, whereas they haven't had experience with this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
that. Then
I
had this other cool idea, because I was in kind of games, like what can we do for games?
Yep.
I love Snakes and Ladders as a kid. I think we could look at a Snakes and Ladders board game, which you could use the mat as a replica, an enlarged version of this, and the kids could move around the board and going up and down the snakes or the ladders, depending on where they land.
Yep.
And like, whilst it's not, it's sort of like a, something that the kids can use to be familiar, similar to the card game, I guess, where it's not too confrontational. Yeah. But kids are familiar with how to play snakes and ladders, but then they're also learning about the location of all of the different elements of the actual circuit. So
okay, yeah.
Kind of
starting I like that because it's really low risk. Like the kids would have not be intimidated at all to play snakes and ladders. They're experienced with it, and it's just introducing a couple of buttons or inputs and outputs, and get them used to what it looks like. I like it.
Yeah, so that's that one. And then my final one was like just to do a really nice, cool information poster, like back to basics. Just do something that's really visually appealing for the kids to have as a resource in your classroom. So whenever you're getting these out, you literally have it as a mind map, or you could just as a resource that just stays in your classroom always.
Yeah.
And then you could even like make sort of smaller versions and laminate one for each of your students.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be like a really bright visual thing. Probably have like a picture of this a bit bigger, like you might use this one. Then have a bunch of like different information and fun font and fun colors and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's my number 10.
Okay.
So they're all my ideas.
I really like the active ones because students learn better when they're active. So rather than like the poster or anything where it's just a visual, I reckon we should try to go a bit further with the Pokemon one.
Yeah.
And the like the Pokemon card style one.
Yeah, I can look into that.
And that one, the snakes and ladders, because I reckon that have good scope for low barrier of entry, but also possibility of extending if we wanted to put like the description on the square. So when they land on the button, it says this is a button or welcome to the button or just something like that. So I reckon we expand on this one and expand on that card idea that you had that were great, and see where we end up.
Okay. I'll get to work.
Get on it.
Thanks.
Thank you.